Joining me now with more on what's happening in Egypt is U.S. Ambassador Adam Ereli, and he's currently a Deputy Assistant Secretary for Educational and Cultural Affairs at the U.S. State Department. He also served as the State Department spokesman and has worked extensively as a U.S. diplomat, including some time in Egypt. So given that history of spending some time in Egypt, what do you make of this? It's sort of a chess match in a sense. What happens next in your estimation?
Oh, I would describe it as a death struggle more than a chess match. I mean, this is not sort of intellectual posturing. This is a fight to the finish for the future of Egypt between two forces that neither one of which seems to want to give any ground. You know, the government is in a tough spot. The Muslim Brotherhood is in a tough spot. The government is in a tough spot because it can either let the Muslim Brothers sit there and have their authority, have the authority of the government undermined and their credibility and legitimacy questioned by the people, or they can act to move them, which, as you can see in the pictures of the people there, is going to be messy and will lead to further radicalization and further conflict. So this isn't polite moving of pieces on a board. This is a life and death proposition.
Okay, so we know that we're looking at live pictures now of the sit-in. We know that Deputy Secretary of State William Burns has been there. You've been in this position before as a diplomat, trying to get people to talk. What can happen in terms of a breakthrough when you're talking about a death struggle and both sides very polarized?
Right. Let me just first make one clarification. I'm not with the State Department anymore. I used to be, and now I've left the State Department. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm speaking for the U.S. government. But based on my experience with the U.S. government, really, talk of breakthrough, I think, misses the point. What we're seeing in Egypt today is the result of decades and decades of repression and, I would say, political retardation, in the sense that Egypt's political system and its institutions have not developed because they've been frozen in time. So what we see on TV, what we read in the news, is an evolution of a political system and a social discourse that has been stifled for so long. And for that reason, things happen quickly and seismic events happen, but I wouldn't qualify any of them as a breakthrough. It is yet another step on a long road towards some kind of accommodation between different political forces and different political agendas and different social agendas, different economic views of the world that are present in Egypt. But where it will lead and when it will end, boy, that's far in the future.
How about the United States' position? Ann Patterson, who will be leaving, was described by many in Egypt as the ambassador from hell. The United States has had a really tough time negotiating this thing and doesn't seem really to know where its footing is in terms of how to negotiate this.
Well, I think the position of the United States has been pretty clear from the beginning and largely misunderstood in Egypt, frankly. I mean, look, our position is this is a problem for the Egyptian people to resolve. There's no solution to Egypt's woes that can be imposed from outside, resolved by outside powers. The United States understands that and appreciates that more than anyone. Why? Because we have a sense of history. We know that others have gone there and failed many, many times, not just in Egypt, but throughout the Middle East. We don't want to repeat those mistakes. So what Deputy Secretary Burns was trying to achieve when he went to Cairo, along with the EU Foreign Policy Chief Ashton, was to help the Egyptians talk through or think through the current impasse and see if there's a way that they can find among themselves some method for talking through their problems as opposed to using force. That's in the interests of the Egyptian people. It's also in our interest.
Adam Ereli, thank you so much for coming in. Certainly appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.